Oh dear, it's another one of these. I would have loved to have loved this film. I love Wes Anderson as a filmmaker, and I love a lot of his movies. The ones I don't love, the ones that I haven't loved, I should say, I really enjoyed. It's been all good in Wes Anderson land for his whole career, as far as I'm concerned. Until now. Which is weird, because on a purely cinematic level, this movie just might be a masterpiece. But hold on, let's move back here. What am I talking about? So The French Dispatch is basically a love letter. I hate this term, but it's true. It's a love letter to The New Yorker, its editors and its writers. Apparently, Wes Anderson is a big fan of the magazine. So the story of the film is like the construction of an issue of The New Yorker. It features a variety of disconnected scenes about culture, food, and whatever else, vaguely tied together by the fact that Bill Murray is the editor, and this is the last issue and epitaph for his character. So there's two things to explore here, right? One is the assertion that this movie might be a masterpiece, and the second is that I wasn't a big fan of it. In terms of pure filmmaking, this movie is a triumph. It's maybe even a masterwork. Everything from shot construction to blocking to the rhythm of scenes to the editing is amazing. There's no other word, it's amazing. The flow of the images and music and dialogue is so meticulous, down to the tiniest detail, that for somebody who's keyed into the language of film, it's like watching a conductor at the height of their power, fully immersed and entranced and leading this orchestra of cameras and actors. But beyond the technical elements, I didn't care that much. And this feels wild to say and admit, but the story here didn't grab me at all. It was vignette after vignette with very little connectivity other than Bill Murray showing up every once in a while. And the endlessly rapid pace of the narration and exposition by the narrators became tiresome to the point where I stopped being able to synthesize it. Around 2/3 of the way through, as the narration kept speeding by like a bullet train on crack, and yet another quick, witty, relentless backstory for character number 637 came through, I wanted the movie to end. I kept waiting for it all to tie together. And it didn't, other than to function as an episode of The New Yorker or The French Dispatch, same thing. Whatever larger point there was lost on me. I even stopped marveling at the filmmaking at a certain point because it was just too much. It was too much of a good thing, too fast. I felt like I was stuffing myself full of exquisite little cakes to the point where I was full to bursting, and I couldn't taste anymore, and I just wanted to stop eating fucking cake, no matter how delicious and well made it was. Okay, look, here's the thing, right? I admire The French Dispatch. I really do. I might have admired it more if I watched it in pieces, but I admired the hell out of it. And more important than anything else, I'm glad that Wes Anderson got to make the movie he wanted to make, and that it seemed to resound so well with people. Right, he wanted to make this movie that's, I'll bring it back, right? The love letter to The New Yorker, and to make a film that functions as a visual representation of what that would look like on film. And people really like this movie. It's a really well-loved movie, especially in the Anderson community. I would never want to box him in as an artist. But for as much as I admire the film, I also think it's emblematic of his worst instincts as a director. He's gone 200% Wes Anderson here, in a lot of the same ways that Christopher Nolan went 200% Christopher Nolan when he made Tenet. And this movie was exhausting. I hope that next time he lets his movie breathe a little more, because that will let me breathe. And I also hope he gets back to just telling a story with consistent characters. And this is the most important point. The French Dispatch is an immaculate artifice, but the deep human connection I feel to movies like The Darjeeling Limited, or The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, or The Grand Budapest Hotel are lacking. And all the technique in the world can't compare to a really good character. Thanks for hanging out. If you want to hear the full unabridged thoughts that gave birth to this episode, check out the full discussion on the Reel Weirdos channel, link above my head, and I'll see y'all in the next one.